Now, the show dedicated to rebuilding Washington, D.C.'s metropolitan housing and credit markets with the timely, trusted advice you need to make the right decisions. This is the Todd Laborowitz Show.
Good afternoon. As your friend and host, Todd Laborowitz, I'm privileged to share every Saturday afternoon at 1 p.m. with you on the Todd Laborowitz Show, which is part of the Real Estate Radio Network here on Salem Broadcast, WRC 1260 AM. Well, with us right now, we got Scott Shirley, who is the Business Development Coordinator for College Hunks Moving and Hauling Junk Services. It's a long name, or is that two companies separate, Scott?
You just have to take a deep breath right before you say it there, Todd.
Got it. Well, Scott, you've been specializing in local moves, junk removals, donation pickups, professional packing for your home or the office. And it says here that you guys are a national moving company that offers home movers, office movers, junk removal, donation pickups, and moving labor services across the United States and Canada. And every College Hunk franchise location, the truck and team member is fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Can you go a little bit further into the services that you provide?
Well, our services revolve around basically home movement or relocation of a family. So a lot of times families are relocating into another location, whether it's Bethesda to Wheaton or Albany, and they downsize. So our services, we can offer moving, we can offer packing them to get them ready for moving, and we can also help them downsize through donation services or through junk removal, recycling.
So you can handle it all?
Yes, sir. Yes.
And College Hunks Moving originated in this area first.
Yes, it's great. It's a great hometown story. It's two young men that graduated from Sidwell Friends. It's Nick Freeman, Omar Solomon. And they decided, as summer work to earn some money before going off to college, to borrow a white cargo van from Omar's mother. And they went around, printed up signs, delivered them out. Next thing you know, they were going around from home to home, taking away junk, doing small moves. And it grew into where Omar actually put together a business plan and entered it in the Rothschild's Entrepreneurs Contest, won first place, $10,000 startup money. And
wonderful. Great story. And how long ago was that?
Now, that was back in the early 2000s. Now, in 2003, we became an official company. What happened was, upon graduation from college, Nick and Omar both went to work in the corporate world. And after 3 months, Nick got a little discouraged with the behind-the-cubicle type work atmosphere, called up Omar and says, look, when are we going to put this business plan into action? So they did. And so College Hunks Hauling Junk was born, and College Hunks Moving. And that started, our first corporate office was Rockville. Now we have 50 franchises nationwide.
50 franchises nationwide.
Yes, sir. We're all the way out California, Chicago, New York, Florida.
Now, I've known you for a while.
Yes,
and
sir.
You're a great guy, and you provide great service, and there's a lot of great compliments about you being a man of your word, and it reflects with your company and the rest of the people within the organization. There's a lot of horror stories that are coming out when people are moving. Being in the business myself, people don't turn to me. They're not turning to their real estate agent. They're going on Craigslist. They're finding these movers, and their stuff is getting hijacked. People can't move into buildings because they never provided their insurances. And you guys are one of the many companies in the area that actually are above board.
Well, and you're correct. There are a lot in this area. Moving is not regulated. Okay, so this is why clients in the Washington area have to be really careful of who they select. If you go to Craigslist, you're probably going to find somebody that's going to offer you a low price at the beginning, but they're not licensed, bonded, and insured. They can't offer certificates of insurance for apartment buildings that require it. And more than likely, that price that they gave you is going to double, sometimes even triple by the end of the move.
And your stuff is held hostage until you pay it up.
Well, and that is one of the tactics. One of the tactics is to load up a client's stuff, get to a location, and then before they unload it, all of a sudden they present you with this increased bill, and you had to pay it, and a lot of times in cash before they'll even let your furniture off the truck.
Well, by the way, if you're just tuning in, I have with me Scott Shirley, who's Business Development Coordinator with College Hunks Moving and Hauling Junk Services in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. And I am your host, Todd Laborwit, and you're listening to Salem Broadcast Network, WRC 1260 AM. Well, there's a lot of stories that are out there, and you guys talk about having a 100% stress-free experience. Now, anytime you move, how can you ensure a 100% stress-free experience unless you have a masseuse on the spot from the time they do an application on a house to the time they move in and everything's all done?
It's a good question, and here's the way I look at moving for my clients. Okay, I look at them as family or friends. Even if I just met you, I'm going to treat you like you're a family member or a friend, and I'm going to try to give you the best experience possible in your move. I'm going to be there holding your hand through the whole thing. I am available all the time, even on weekends, for my clients to call me. It's very important that they feel comfortable. We are borrowing their furniture, everything that they own, for about 30 minutes, and we've got to give it back to them the same way we borrowed it. And it's a lot of money that they have invested, a lot of time they've invested to their personal belongings, and you need to take care of it. You need to treat it with kid gloves.
Now, what are some items that you've moved that are kind of surprising, like a piano going through a window? I'm making this up. I've seen it in the movies.
Well, we've never put a piano through a window, thank God.
Well, I'm saying with a crane, like bring it up on a crane.
Oh, okay. Okay. It made it sound like the other way around.
No. It's like the glass is half full, half empty.
Well, trust me, I've heard these stories too. No, we've had to go ahead and rope items over balconies. You find a lot of places in D.C. that in Northeast, like the row houses that have narrow hallways with stairs going down, and you can't get certain things, bed systems down through there or triple dressers, things like that are really tough. So you have to rope them and lower them down over balconies or out windows. And that requires a little more manpower.
But you have a system in place to make sure it works.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Anytime we're doing a job like that, it specifically requires that we come out and we assess the situation before we even let a client know that we can do it. Because we don't want to make false promises to a client.
So you like to over-deliver rather than under-deliver and
Correct.
Add false expectations.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, I've heard the stories from you before, but you always have a client that is very hard to take care of, even though other stuff is taken care of. And you've always proven to be of your word. Could you share one of those stories with us that you've shared with me before?
Yes, I don't mind. We had a client that they were military, and they were used to military moves, everything being done for them. Well, we were moving them from over in Maryland to Virginia, and they had some exercise equipment that was a little difficult to get out of the basement because of narrow areas. And our move team at the time could not get it apart. So the client called me frantic about how we could not get this equipment over there and all. And I told her, I said, look, I made a promise to you that I would get this done. If I have to come over there with me and my son, I will go over there and get it done for you. Well, make a long story short, the following morning, we put together a crew, got over there, got everything apart, got it out of there, and moved it for her, and did not charge the client for that extra time.
That's fascinating.
And she spent 20 minutes on the phone to me just raving about how she just never expected a move company to do something like that for her.
Right, and who would? But you guys are giving that feel of like the small hometown feeling when you're this huge corporation.
Well, that's because their philosophy has always been from day one to change the image of the move industry one move at a time, and that's their motto.
Now, is that their motto or is that your motto because you're running the business development?
That's their motto, and I'm old school. So, I believe in taking care of people. I believe in customer service.
Well, Scott, that's awesome. Thank you for being here and sharing that with us. If you'd like more information, please go to toddlaborowit.com, and you can see the segment of Scott Shirley with College Hunks moving and hauling junk services for the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. Coming up next, we got Suzanne Fields, owner-broker of United Real Estate in Great Falls, Virginia. We'll be right back after these messages.
You don't go through life with a paralyzing fear every time you have a financial transaction. So why is applying for a mortgage so scary? At Topaz Mortgage with Todd Laborwit, it is about educating and empowering you to get from point A to point B. Todd provides you with his exact closing cost, best interest rate, then invites you to shop around. Plus, if you call with questions, Todd picks up with the answers. Learn more at whytopaz.com. They are industry experts that care. Topaz Mortgage, NMLS 131548, licensed by the Virginia State Corporation Commission, MC 5344, Washington, D.C., MLB 131548, Maryland 18330, Todd Laborwit, NMLS 131497.